Right, so tonight's planting comes with a little bit of a history of the tree because I do find it quite interesting. So this is Prunus dulcis, which is an almond, and that first off comes with quite a lot of interest because almonds are quite a weird tree to have such a long history of domestication because they're domesticated for the nut. The rest of the Prunus, generally speaking, is domesticated for the fruit because the nuts of the genus Prunus are quite full of cyanide, which is actually why when people talk about the flavour of cyanide, they say it tastes of bitter almonds. Actually, no, it's just the flavour of almond intensified because that almondy flavour is the cyanide. It's just very, very weak and very, very mild in almonds themselves, so you're unlikely to poison yourself until after you have burst your stomach with them. But this variety is the al-Farm variety, also called the Hassan al-Asad variety, which is a variety which originated in Syria but then was taken to the city of al-Farm in what is now northern Israel by someone called Hassan al-Asad, and it's now one of the most widely planted varieties of almond in that region because it is very well adapted to low water conditions. And actually, because almonds do quite like a lot of drainage, even the ones that are much thirstier than this one, I am planting it somewhere with a steep-sided pond so I can make sure that it doesn't end up getting waterlogged in the middle of the rains. It will need cross-pollination. This is not a self-fertile variety, so you do need to plant another variety. And so I do have one of those to plant at some point, and I'll be planting that quite nearby, but it is probably the most heat and drought tolerant variety there is, which means that a lot of the concerns about overwatering of almond trees shouldn't really apply when this is the one you're getting fruit from, because provided you can keep the less tolerant varieties healthy enough to flower, you should be able to get fruit from these even if you don't give those enough water to flower and set fruit themselves. Because this is an area where I want the vegetation quite low, I've got quite a lot of succulents growing around this pond already. I'm going to be going with quite low growing ground covers around this, so I'm going to be starting with Euphorbia, whose name I'm not entirely sure if I'll put a good guess up on the screen, and I'm also going to be putting an aloe that I'm not 100% on, but I think it's Aloidendron. I'm still waiting for this to flower. It divides really, really easily, but doesn't seem to flower very readily in our climate, but it seems to be Aloidendron, which is probably a cliff-dwelling one, although its actual wild location is kind of unknown because it was only recorded once, and that specimen was then divided over and over again, so it became quite common in captivity without its wild source being confirmed. And then finally I'm going to be putting a piece of Calico Gastonis Bonnieri, which is the donkey's ears calico, which is a lovely, I think, Madagascan one, which, there is already one that you might be able to see in the shot as ground cover on the edge of this pond because they really quite like this well-drained situation, which is quite open. Right, so that should be everything for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you have enjoyed the puddle frog singing along as I was recording. And please tune in again tomorrow because we'll be planting something else, and I imagine they will be singing again.